Okay, we want to talk about paradoxes. Before I launch into it, let me see if somebody is eager to tell us their version of it. What does it mean to you, the word paradox? Any participant, anybody has played with this word before? Don't be shy. This has to be a two-way discussion. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, fire.
Good morning, sir. Can I jump in?
Yes, fire.
Jayant.
What's that?
Jayant.
So, okay, yeah, I know. I see your face, yeah.
Basically, paradox is what we experience on regular basis. The very first paradox is when you are born in poverty. See, my team, they are basically from very humble backgrounds, and they are actually sons of farmers and taxi drivers and security people. So they have been born in very adverse conditions, but today they are engineers. So life sounds as a paradox that you start with a humble background and you end up this way. There's another issue also when you see
Jayant, let's keep it to what paradox means to you. It's nice to have the stories and background, but we only have half an hour.
So basically, although we say that richness is the new happiness, but it is again, it is not necessary. The more you acquire wealth and assets, you still feel there's something missing. So that's another form of a paradox. So it is both ways that works. Back to you, sir.
Thank you, Jan. Okay, so a paradox, let me show you something that will immediately be clear to you. Anybody seen these? I'm sure many of you have come across this. If you try and trace the line, it doesn't make sense. It goes on the low side, it goes this way, but then you end up higher than where you started. And for most of us, we look at this, it's amusing, it's interesting, but very few try and figure out why does it work this way? How is it? It comes... it's almost confusing. Start somewhere, end up somewhere else. The reason I share this is a paradox is by its very nature is like mind-bending, okay? And most of us, when we see something that, if you like, taxes the brain, walk away from it. Very few are wanting to put in the effort of saying, what is it? How does it arise? So today we're going to tackle some of those paradoxes and then see, by figuring them out, you will see how you gain an advantage in life, okay? I am hoping if 10% of those present, which is at the moment 157, which is about 15, 16 people, get it, or then they'll have that unfair advantage. The rest maybe in time. Okay, so is this something you can visit again and again? So let's hope you're one of those who is curious enough when they hear or talk about the paradox, they really want to get to the bottom of it. And if you do, you will be in the top maybe 1 to 5% of the population who really put the brain power to figure out the paradox, okay? So let's make a start and I'll throw them at you. Hopefully you'll help me. If you don't help me, I will do my best, but it's a lot more effective when we all do it. So the first paradox is the growth paradox. Most of you have heard of exponential and how the human brain is not designed to understand exponentials. And because of that, we miss out on a lot of things because the brain is used to incremental change. And when exponential happen, this is the graph of an exponential. So if you are at this part of the graph, at the low end, you think nothing is happening. And by the way, that has been the story with, let's say, AI for the last few years. It's been down here, minor changes, etc. And we're beginning to see take off. And we think this is it. Actually, we're still, I don't know if you can see my arrow when I'm showing it. Can you see it? We're still in the low space here. we have yet to incorporate or truly incorporate, apart from words, which we do today, voice, picture, other senses. Human beings is only so advanced because our brain has access to all the five senses. In fact, some of you might have the sixth sense as well, which would be handy if you do have that. So soon enough, when you start exposing AI to more and more senses, you will see the takeoff. Okay? But let me test you on something that is a typical question around paradoxes. You are maybe familiar with a lily that grows on a lake. So somebody put this quiz: if you put one lily on the lake, and tomorrow it is 2, day after it is 4, day after it is 8, 16, 32. These are doubling, exponential. So let's say on day 29, the lake is half full. Day 29. How long will it take it to reach absolutely full lake?
1 day. One day.
Is that
One day.
me? Yeah.
Yeah. So the next day.
But when you saw it, it was only going 1 to 2 to 38 to 64, 128. And this could be millions and millions of lilies. But the mind, I mean, we've come across this quiz so many times, it's natural. The doubling will take from half full to full in one night. And that's what we're going to see as we go forward with AI. You will be surprised again and again and again of what it is capable of. Yesterday, I took a YouTube video and fed it to AI, and it gave me full content analysis and summary of it. It's about an hour, 20 minutes, so I didn't have to bother listening to it, going through it. So now AI can analyze video. And if you recall yesterday, I also sent you all, at least to the Alpha group, a bit of advice. Those of you might remember that it is mimicking your voice is so easy. You better have a secret word or something that you share with your family. So if somebody says, I've kidnapped your father, and there he is, all scared and crying out, etc., please send them the money. You don't jump and send the money. You ask for the secret word, right? So I've got one with the family. Hopefully you've got one with your family. And that will be very easy, be a target or a victim of these frauds. So that was the exponentials. The thing about it, since we know it's going to grow like that, it means if you stay with it, persistence, you will reap the benefit. If you see an exponential happening, hanging around, you will reap the benefit. And why? Because as you hang around, you stay with it, you end up learning from what's happening, and you can course correct and keep on top of it to get the maximum benefit. If you see exponentials and it confuses you as a paradox and you walk away, you miss out on some the huge benefit that will come with those exponentials. This is a bit more easy for most of us. Persuasion, paradox. Anybody on the call think they're a really good persuader? They're good at arguing, discussing, and persuading the other side. I don't think anybody will raise their hand. Although, Arlene Romero, you raised your finger, but I think you're talking to someone else. Okay, so persuasion. Do you think arguing with the other party is persuasive? No, I think you'd have to be crazy, because life must have taught you by now that the argument only end up in what this picture trying to show, two people unhappy. So what should we do? I want to persuade you. I have maybe a really interesting point of view, and maybe you don't agree with it, but if I can make you see it, you will reap the benefit. How would I convince you? Nobody wants to help me. Here is very lonely. It's raining outside. I'm in a dark room. If I make
How
it
about reasoning, Fayez?
reasoning,
Absolutely. Reasoning with examples, facts, data. I think that would be probably more effective than, just throwing something at one another without real facts.
right?
With actual reasoning, yeah.
So that on first pass makes a lot of sense. Instead of arguing, let's reason. But actually, you look at the whole world and it's full of reasoning, whether it's climate change, whether it's political, whether it doesn't seem to do anything. Everybody holds on to their position. In fact, they become more entrenched in it. So that's a paradox. If arguing doesn't do it, reasoning, what should I do? And this is part of winning in that paradox. So what you do, first you observe. What is the position of this other party? How are they behaving? It's nothing to do with how clever you are with logic. It's to do with you understanding the other party. So you observe, you put questions again to ferret out what is it they're thinking, and you listen very carefully. People, when they feel listened to, are much more open to hear what you have to say or even question their position, because for the first time, somebody listened to them, posed intelligent question, and listened to their answer. You'll be surprised. Without you saying anything, you might come to them a day or two later and find they have reconsidered their position. So that is another paradox, that we think arguing or reasoning will do it. Fact is, nothing changes our mind but ourselves. Effort. The more effort, paradox, or less effort, or is it effort or is it talent? You maybe know these Messi and Ronaldo. They've become so famous, everybody knows them. Most people would say Messi has the talent, Ronaldo is the hard worker, he puts the effort. Anybody has a position, anybody into football here who can guide us? Yes, Praveen. No, muted though.
Sorry for that. Yes, I do believe in that statement that Messi is more talented, but Ronaldo is definitely the hard work. I mean, no doubts on that, according to me.
So you think is this talent really that will make somebody like Messi just ahead of Ronaldo? Although I mean they both must be very talented; they're at the top of the game worldwide. But it doesn't work that way. So let's see. Messi has been dribbling the ball and working with football since age of 4. Okay, so this guy has put in more effort than any human being on the planet. Don't believe anybody who tells you so-and-so do this with ease because they're talented. Obviously, we all have talent more in one area than another, but without real industry, dedication, effort, nothing will happen. So I'll give you an example. When you see, and I don't know if you've ever seen in chess, a master or a grandmaster, especially grandmasters, they can go in a room where there could be 100 players, and they just walk, and to each player suggest a move. Like, because they're competing with 100 players, so they will have somebody who will move the pieces on their behalf. So within seconds, they just stop and say, move this to that, move this to that. And you think, how can he play chess like a speed chess? How can he walk over 100 people and never stop more than a few seconds at each desk? And the reason is those people have put in so much effort and their mind has become so used to chunking. You heard of the word chunking? They don't think there's a whole board here and I must think about it and one move and two move and three moves ahead. They will look at patterns, see the circle, and a master has about 10,000 chunks in their brain of where the configuration could be. A grandmaster is about 100,000 chunks. So let me show you another example of chunk. See, this person is trying to put a number in their head and it's confusing. This person chunked it. It's a long number, but when you chunk it into threes, it's easier to remember. Okay? Anybody who figure out how to chunk any information will beat somebody who looks at the whole information and try to make sense of it. So whether you're a grandmaster or a maths, what's supposed to be, or a number genius, it is effort, hard work that does it. Talent is nice to have, but it will never deliver. Wisdom paradox. Think, he said it best, our friend Einstein, the more I learn, the more I realize how much I don't know. And anybody who has done this, lived long enough, all of you lived quite a bit, but not as long as I have lived, I guess, realize the more you learn, the more you think, oh my God, there is so much more. And I was reflecting on that, and I think the more you learn, let me put an image here. See a balloon here. The more you expand it, what are you doing? You're expanding the surface area of the balloon, which makes it more in touch with so many more topics. So if you know only, let's say, about art or medicine or something, expand it a bit, you hit maybe science, you hit social sciences, you hit whatever. So the more you expand that knowledge, the more you realize just how much you need to know in so many other walks of life. So throughout life, we're expanding that balloon, and we need to be humble that we know so little, but we are curious enough that we're willing to learn. This is one of my favorite because I'm always banging on about it to you guys who work directly with me, the productivity paradox. I think I must have repeated this a few times. It also bears repeating. Work expands so as to fill the time available for its completion. The Parkinson law. And a lot of you get annoyed when I say, and you tell me, give me a week. I say, no, I'd like it this afternoon. And they think I'm just being difficult. I know work does expand. You know, it's not kind of such a theory. In fact, there is, can you see the graph? You give less time, people productivity peaks, and they deliver in one day. Give them a week, they'll make it spread to fill the week. And sometimes they don't do anything until the last few hours of the week and then jump in and finish it. So don't be tempted to agree to extended period of time. Always shoot, because there's nothing like saying, finish this afternoon. When it's finished, tomorrow is free. You do what you like. If I agree to a week, you've got it in the back of your head for a week. I know I mustn't forget this. And I observed a few people, I've got so much to finish. Well, why didn't you finish it on day one and give yourself the freedom? So keep that in mind, our friend Parkinson. The speed paradox, especially on a rainy day like this. Most of us think going faster, we get there sooner, or we deliver sooner. Not true. Let me give you an example. You try and take a complex road network. It doesn't have to be even complex. I have seen it and it's happened to me. You try to get from A to B quickly. And if you're in a hurry, what happens? You take the wrong exit. and then God help you to get back onto the road again to recover from that mistake. So what you thought, the bit of speed to save you 5 minutes, now becomes half an hour of navigation. And there is no way to recover that half hour because you're in a mess, especially Dubai. Dubai doesn't allow you an easy recovery. If you miss an exit, you've got a long way to go and then come back and then find your way. And if there is traffic, you will be cursing yourself. And the more annoyed with yourself, the more mistakes you make, and it multiplies. I've also seen it in the kitchen. This is that picture. You're in a hurry to finish a meal or to try and cook a meal or whatever. The more you speed, likely you push something and you are about to finish and you drop a plate, gets pushed off the counter. Now you've got to clean up, to gather the glass, put it away. What was going to save you 2 minutes becomes maybe a 10 minutes job of clearing up, and still you might leave a piece of glass to step on. News paradox. Today we have so much going on in the world with social media feeding us, YouTube feeding us. Everything seems to be so important, and we end up with a problem, which is more information we get, the less understanding we achieve. Why is that? Who can help me? More information should give me more input, and I didn't say I should collect it all. I said I get poorer understanding, even though I've got a lot more information.
Lack of focus.
Lack of focus is valid. So the more information does that, but that is hide something in it, which for some of you might seem a bit technical, but remember it, maybe explore it. Have you heard signal to noise ratio? In the news, there is so many breaking news. Some of it relevant, not so relevant, some of it opinion, some of it fake, some of it fact. And if you absorb that much, chances are you're more confused than you understand what's going on. A smart person is very selective about their news diet. So more is not better, less is better. Failure paradox. You would think failure is the worst thing to have, and I'd rather succeed. But if you want to learn in life, failure is the teacher. Okay, we've all seen this wise figure here. The greatest teacher, failure, is he always reverses his words. Is this Yoda or something like that? I think yeah. In my experience, see if you understand this. If you play dart with somebody and on first throw it lands bullseye, how much do you think they've learned? They would just feel lucky, they're smart, they're clever, etc. If you have to make 100 tries to hit the bullseye, you will learn about trajectory, strength of the throw, the distance you're throwing from, all kind of things come into it. So honestly, often you want to pray for failure first time. Don't pray for success, because that can be very expensive long term, as you get a lot of hubris, you're full of yourself, but your learning is very limited. This is dear to a lot of people's heart, money paradox. Anybody has a paradox with money? Oh, we've got all very confident faces here. Nobody worries about money. Anyway, so we know more money equals increased happiness. Is that true? No. Anil, what is this? You're shaking your head, so I assume you don't agree with that.
It's not necessary that more money could mean more sorrow as well.
Okay, fair enough. So let's see. More money, what will you do? Eat more? God help us, we're trying to eat less. So that's what money is going to offer you. A big feast every day, which will make you fat, and happiness will disappear out of the window. How about more fancy cars? I have seen some neighbors have 3, 4, 5. I have a hard problem with one and sending it to service and dealing with its issues. Last thing, if somebody gives me a car, I would throw it back at them. I don't want more cars. I just want to go from A to B. And what about beds? Can money buy you more beds? But you like, I mean, it's not a good picture, but can you sleep in more than one bed? We fool ourselves. The mind is so retarded sometimes, we think that. But I don't want you to also completely discard it. There is a role money plays. You understand that? Money can be dirty, but it's the oil that keeps the engine going. Don't think you can send your children to college without money. It takes money. Don't think you can travel to see family, friends, etc., or holiday. You need money. But one thing, recognizing money as a role, it's another thinking it's a be-all and end-all. And if you still, despite everything I say, you want to make a lot of money, here is a piece of advice not many people will tell you. Profit is made when you buy, not when you sell. And I don't mean here buy as in buy an item. Buy could be buy an idea, buy a stock, buy a house, buy anything. But also, I tell you what is a buy, which is a kind of commitment. Buy into a job, an organization. I'm willing to bet there is maybe 10 people on the call that their fortune happened when they committed and they bought into the job that unto now. Okay. They started, some of them, in a very modest role. But we talked about also exponential, we talked about growth and all these things. Their real profit was made when they entered. Now you could exit. When you exit, you move from one job to the next for 20%, 30% more. But if you done it right, you entered almost as a, let's say, coordinator, and end up in a position where you're making a ton of money. That is the real money. Okay? Same thing with stocks. I don't mind the bragging about something because I was totally oblivious to it until I realized the other day, NVIDIA, which makes the processors for AI, I bought it on a whim a while back, and I paid $37. I think it's probably $2,000 now. And the profit, if I sell it now, I can sell for $2,000, $2,100, $2,050. You make a tiny bit of money. Money was made on entry. So invest in relationship. When you marry, also the profit in a lifetime profit is made at the entry point, not when you are 20, 30, 50 years on and you're still arguing. If you made the right choices, then you reap the benefit. If you entered the right company, then in time you reap the benefit. The Icarus paradox. Most of you will not know that. If KD is on the call, he will know it. I think it's a Greek god. KD, are you with us? He may not be. I think he is probably on leave now. Icarus is, I'll show you the picture in a minute. He speaks to advantages that leads to success that can cause a downfall of an organization or a person. So Icarus was a god that could fly as high as anyone. Very strong. Until one day decided to be very adventurous and fly to the sun. And as he got close to the sun, the wings he had on were attached with wax. Then the wax melted and Icarus fell to his death. Okay? So what this tells us is those advantages, the strength and the wing and so on, could also cause a downfall. Look at the situation we are in now. Google had all the advantages of search, all the advantages of huge databases and clients and so on. So they were sitting very comfortable that nobody can touch them because they're king of search, until OpenAI comes with ChatGPT and completely surprised them. And now they're playing catch up. And honestly, I find maybe out of 10 searches I have done in the, let's say, last couple of days, most of them I've done with ChatGPT. I get straight answer rather than many links. And I find that more convenient. If I want to delve deeper, I might go, I used to go to Google. I will get about maybe 5-6 links, Wikipedia, etc. It turns into a research project. While I go to OpenAI, ChatGPT, and now there is Claude 3, and there is so many good ones. And I don't need to go to Google, only specific cases. And who can have that problem? Some of you are smiling. See, do you remember this 40th anniversary? Frankly, that's what keeps me up at night sometimes. The successes we've had for 40 years, it does not guarantee the next 40 years at all. Guarantees that we think we're doing the right things. Look at the success we've had. It will go on and on and on forever. No. Some young startup will come and surprise us. So every time we talk about we have to stay on our guard, we have to stay ahead of the curve. We have to do so much because actually the human nature is the more successful, for longer you've been, the more confident you are in what you're doing, and that could be your downfall. I hope this message goes deep enough because I need the help of everybody if we want to repeat, not the next 40 years, I won't be around, but at least another 10 years. So I hope I can count on you to always be contributing to staying ahead of the curve. So I hope there is sufficient there information to give you an advantage. Maybe review it again, see if it makes even more sense. And let's hope the rain is over and we can have an enjoyable weekend. Thank you very much. If I can ask you to rate and comment, that'd be great. Thank you.